Good evening, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good night, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Let's get into the news this late Monday night. What's up, everyone? Jeremy here from the cornering absolute bombshells yesterday in Elon Musk and his reporter team, who he appears to not be on great terms with anymore. Revealed to us essentially a hand-in-glove kind of relationship between Twitter and the FBI. Perhaps the most shocking part about it, to me, was the immense size of the FBI team, something like 80 staffers at that time, whose job it seemed to be, based on what was being reported, was literally watching everybody the accounts in this list that were actioned by the FBI or told, for Twitter to action, or like 3 follower Andys, they weren't massive accounts. They weren't Donald Trump. I mean, there were a few in there, but there was just like, Jim, the mechanics making a joke about, the election. And the FBI is watching this dude, who had 1 like on his tweet, and they're sending it to Twitter and saying, you probably should do something about this. And then of course, Twitter did do something about it. After these things were revealed yesterday, the FBI responded. Now, Elon Musk continues to FBI as our targets the FBI as Twitter file saga continues. I don't know if I would say he's targeting the FBI. I don't think that that's a fair representation. I mean, it's they're doing it, not me, like that. They're the ones doing it. The FBI was criticized at the latest Twitter Files reported report featured emails from the Bureau regarding jokes. Essentially, Twitter CEO Elon Musk has led the release of a stockpile of internal Twitter employees' emails, and from other forms of company communication in an effort to be more transparent about the platform's his past decision, and monitoring content that goes against his policies. In Part 6 of the internal review, company review posted by journalist Matt Taibbi, past company emails reveal occasions in which federal law enforcement alerted Twitter employees of accounts in it believed in violation of the platform's rules of disseminating false information, allegedly, right? They don't know. It was insane to watch. I mean, the number of people that were caught up in this, and they're just regular everyday people. You don't, by the way, I'd like to make a point here. I think it's pretty curious that they had 80 people or something like that, whatever the number was revealed. Worrying about people making jokes, like simple jokes like aha, make sure to tell the Republicans to make sure they go out vote on Wednesday. Even though the vote was Tuesday, it was like a boomer dad joke. And several people got suspended or actioned on Twitter. First of all, which would have been ridiculous, but second of all, you had federal agents sitting in a room, scanning tweets that had like a single like and sending them to Twitter. And saying, boy, it sure would be a shame if something happened on Twitter if you didn't act on this, essentially my opinion. One example is an email sent by the FBI National Election Command post on November 5, which included 25 separate accounts. The department said, quote, may warrant additional action due to the accounts being utilized to spread misinformation regarding various elections. You see in this email, at Part 18 in an internal email from November 5, 2022. So again, this is like to a month ago, right? DFS National Election Command post, which compiles logs and sends on complaints, sent the San Francisco field office a long list of accounts that, quote, may warrant an additional action, and didn't actually even provide what they said that may have been actioned or need to be actioned. 3 days later, a Twitter employee responded with a list of accounts that were either permanently or temporarily suspended for policy violations, spam behaviors, and excessive strikes. Other accounts had also had tweets bounced, deleted for civic misinformation policy violations. Screenshots of other emails show similar interactions between federal law enforcement and Twitter in 2020 and 2021. TB also reported that officials from the Department of Homeland Security and state government officials also were utilizing the same form of First Amendment violation. That's what you really need to take away from this. This is the federal agencies directly or indirectly infringing on Americans' First Amendment rights. In some cases, there were subsidiary organizations like at universities that were like, they were like contractors for the DHS, and things like this that they were supposed to be, policing misinformation. But what it seemed like, in my opinion, what they were doing is like, going after everyday citizens. From what I saw getting reported, it wasn't like Republicans in debt or like, I'm sorry, senators, congresspeople, wasn't any of them. It was just everyday people that the FBI were monitoring. Again, accounts with 0 followers, 10 followers, being removed, obvious satire and jokes. The FBI says that's got to go. And you could see now people, or a lot of people, who are like black pilled on the sand, like, oh, nothing's going to happen. This is a big one. You can see, shortly after Table's report, Florida Representative Matt Gaetz tweeted that the FBI has a lot to answer for and promised further questioning from himself and fellow GOP members of Congress. This is another embarrassment for Democrats. Maybe there have been Democrats that have spoke out, so let me know in the comment section down below if you know there have been. But like, why do they always have to be like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Matt Gaetz? Why are these the only people who are like, hey, maybe we should, talk about Americans first? Remember, Ted Cruz does too. Like, why were the Democrats on this? This seems like a universal truth. It's in the Constitution, for crying out loud. Now, maybe there are some. But I mean, it's always the regular suspects. Georgia Representative MTG also thanks Musk for the report on Friday and tweeted that Republicans will take this very seriously. Others criticize the FBI for monitoring Twitter, rather than preventing other crimes, such as stopping mass events, when Sasa post plans on social media. We know that what happened down in Texas, they had shared private, they had messages and stuff like that. And by the way, if you think about this was happening while pictures of little ones were running rampant on Twitter. Right? FBI didn't have problem with that, good. The FBI was actioning those posts for Twitter to remove, and bad were they? It was literally people making a hook tell Republicans to go to the polls the day after the polls close. Yep. It's so funny. The FBI is actioning those people, it's absolutely insane. That everybody Republican, Democrat, Independent? Is it? Is it calling for, massive, lot of people say full on dismantling? At this point, I feel like I know I have people that work in the FBI that watch my videos. Like as viewers and fans, not like they're monitoring, although maybe I want to believe that the FBI still does good things to protect Americans. But I think at this point, it's like they're gonna have to prove it. Like, it's actually insane the type of people that were getting banned for doing nothing. And there was basically like this buddy-buddy relationship between Yolanda Ron Roth and Elvis Chan, who was an FBI field officer in San Francisco. A buddy want to suppress some Americans' First Amendment rights. Sure, buddy. You want to go out later from my ties with umbrellas and post pictures to Instagram about a food? Yeah, that sounds neat. Now, I don't know if they actually ever said that. It sounds like it might have said that. So finally, the FBI response now shows their utter contempt for the American people and First Amendment. The latest release on Twitter on their private communications reveals that the FBI communicated regularly with the social media giant to regulate, censor and blacklist conservative voices on merit in America. The FBI agents communicated regularly with Twitter, Brass, and requested accounts to be taken down and removed from the public forum. Gateway Pundit, for example, was removed in February 2021. The FBI frequently recommends that content moderators look into specific tweets and take action. If they violate misinformation policies, many of these tweets were from users with very low follower counts who are engaged in sanitary humor. So we know the FBI released a statement now on Friday, quote, "The FBI regularly engages with private sector entities to provide information specific to identified foreign malign influence actors, as that none of those were in the files." So verse of undeclared covert or criminal activities, private sector entities independently make decisions about that. Yeah, sure. The FBI is emailing you and saying, it's like, hey, that's a sweet business you built, there sure would be a shame if something happened to it. Independent decision if they make any they take on their platforms. For their customers after the FBI notified them. It was another arrogant statement that showed their utter contempt for the American public. How many of the thousands of conservatives' accounts that were taken out were promoting subversive covert or criminal activities? What utter BS. On Friday night? Attorney Jonathan Turley weighed in with us on the smug response from the FBI, saying people still largely agree. I hope that while the First Amendment applies to the government, it also applies to agents of the government. So if the FBI uses a proxy, uses an agent like Twitter, it's still censorship, It's still a violation of the First Amendment. I 100% agree. This story is about to get extremely spicy over the holidays. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. If you're up for it, I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.